We're home!
Yay! Cheers! We're in our parents' house in Galveston. We've been home for, it's the 13th, so we've been home for 15 days, roughly 16 days. And it feels like longer. It feels like, it's been 2 weeks, it feels like 2 months, which is how it was on the race. So much happens so quickly that when you're in a new country for 2 weeks, you're like, I feel like I've been here for years.
Yeah, so we just wanted to invite you guys into this transitioning home process and let you know how it's been for us. And thank you guys for the prayers and support even during this time. Our family and friends have been so understanding just of how difficult this transition is and how unique it is, and the fact that sometimes we have emotions that we can't explain. So, yeah, that's been really interesting.
Yeah.
Sarah, do you feel like you've experienced that?
Yeah, it's hard. It's really weird and hard. Like, they told us that it was going to be hard, and they prepped us for, like, they call it re-entry, and they, like, go on and on about how we're going to feel and how we're going to, like, freak out, and I don't know, I honestly was, like, not super worried. I was like, I love being home, and I love my community at home, and so I'm not worried. But I got here, and day 2, I was like, oh no. They were so right. Like, you're so overwhelmed. For the first, like, 4 days, I felt like I was going to cry all the time. Even when I was happy, I felt like I was, like, this close to crying at all times. So,
Yeah.
it was just, like, a really tumultuous, overwhelming week, the first week.
Yeah. It's also really strange being suddenly away from the community that you've known for a whole year.
Yeah.
Not having your friends in the same room as you at all times.
Yeah.
So that's been weird getting used to that. Having family members now, much closer than they were before, but it's still, they've grown a lot, we've grown a lot, so it's getting to know your family. And that's a weird feeling.
The hardest part for me, and I'm trying not to cry, was when we came down the escalator in the airport, and I saw Emily first and, like, gave her a hug, and then as I was hugging Emily, I saw, like, over her shoulder Nathaniel, and I didn't even recognize him. He looked like a total stranger. He's so much taller. His, like, hands are, like, long now. Like, I was like, oh my god, like, is that Nathaniel? Like, he just shot up. And we knew we were leaving for a year, but I don't know, I didn't really think about, like, when I get home, my brother, who's shorter than me, is going to be, like, 5 inches taller than me.
Yeah. It kind of felt like I realized on the race we were going to be called to be giving up a year of our lives to go do this, but I didn't realize we were also giving up being a part of a year of our family's lives.
Yeah.
And on the race, you make every effort to stay connected to home and to see the changes that are happening and to understand family, be there for them, but there's really just, it's almost impossible to really stay that connected to where it wouldn't feel like change happened when you got home.
Which ultimately, that's of course what we would want for them, because we want them to continue to grow just like we want to continue to grow until we're on, 95 years old. We're going to keep growing. So it's excellent that they all grew. It's just hard to be like, oh, Emily, you're so mature now. What happened?
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about cultural experiences now and the shift of dynamic coming back to first world after living in
You want to talk about going to Costco?
third world for a year. Yeah, so Mom and Emily and I took a road trip to Costco, which I used to love doing. Like, one of my favorite pastimes was to go to Costco with her and get the shopping list and check everything off and get the Costco samples and, all of that. And then as soon as we walked in, all of a sudden my heart just like stopped. And it was so many people and so many things, you know, massive stockpiles of food and non-perishable stuff. And yeah, that was just really overwhelming. I had to like ask my mom for the keys and go to the car, and I didn't really understand, and I still don't really understand why it overwhelmed me. But I've had a couple of those moments where I just suddenly overwhelmed.
Yeah. When I was getting my hair cut for the first time, like back in a salon, I was like freaking out on the inside. And it just, you feel like you are, like it's familiar. It's what we did our whole lives. But for some reason, you feel like out of place doing it. So it's just really overwhelming to try and like step back into those old shoes, kind of.
Yeah. I told Sarah, like, it feels like I'm a cloned version of myself being placed back into my normal reality and just told, like, go on, this is what you did before. So everything feels so familiar, but yet so unfamiliar. It's really weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's like a little update on how we're handling the transition.
I'd say that, or my prayer is that the Lord would use this unfamiliar feeling in us to help us to respond differently to what we would have than what we would have before. So I don't want to be I don't want to feel out of place wherever I go, but I at the same time don't want to become numb again to life and like prosperity and the things here in like my own country that are blessings.
Yeah, how blessed we are.
Yeah, like I hope that this would produce in me gratitude and also like a desire to move. Miranda was like looking at volunteer opportunities today in Galveston, and it just like because we feel different, I don't want to just like try to squash that because it's hard, but instead start being like, okay, we are different. How can we live differently in the same country?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the ways that I'm going to be like moving differently, like you said, is just always looking for those opportunities to serve. I had a dream last night that I was trying to like minister to kids here in the U.S. and they were just like totally different response than the kids that we would minister to.
Honestly, that is so hard. I saw like 2 little kids when I went to the hospital, and I was like, and they were just like, who is this right now? But I'm so used to like everywhere we go, like interacting with the children and singing songs with them. And the kids here like want nothing to do with me.
Yeah. Hospital visit for a family member. She wasn't sick.
Whoops.
Yeah. But yeah, if you guys can just continue to pray for us as we navigate this coming home journey, and we're going to keep you updated. I'm probably going to continue to do some sort of vlogs now because I'm just too in the habit of recording my life. So keep watching, keep praying, and let us know how we can be praying for you, especially now that we're back home. We're way more accessible. We have cell phones now that don't have to require Wi-Fi, so that's been good. Sarah, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we'll be processing this year for probably years to come, but just like coming home and sleeping in my bed and being able to like be distant from the experience has just made me feel so grateful for it, and like people asking questions about like testimonies and stuff has been a reminder of like how much God did in and through us. And I want to give that gratitude back to all of you because we would not have been able to do that without supporters financially and just like emotionally, prayerfully.
Yeah.
You guys were absolutely the reason why we were able to go. And at the end of the day, we're just so grateful. So grateful.
Yeah, thank you guys. We're headed to Project Searchlight, which is our final official last World Race event in about a week. So I'll let you know how that goes.